In our last class, we have seen how new kings and dynasties were formed. So, how the kingdom was rising, how they used to inscribe their names in the copper plates and in the stones, and as they were fighting with each other to extend their kingdom, they invited many Brahmins to come and settle there. We know that Brahmins were known for their intelligence, and Bhatts. Who are Bhatts? Bhatts are the people mainly from Rajasthan, and they used to mainly describe or write the poems. So now when they settle there in their kingdoms, now what is their role? So now we will be seeing here their roles, how they were very important for the kingdom to develop. So here we see they give rise to the royal dynasties. They guided the governing system of their kingdom, and we know that on those days Brahmins were very known for their wisdom, intelligence. They were very highly people, respected people, and we know they know more about religion. So they were scholared in the religions. So they also were respected for all the things that they were suggesting for the kingdom to grow, for the governing system. So that is why the kings and the other South Indian invited them to come to their places and settle where in the bank of Ganga and Yamuna rivers, so that they may have more development in different areas. Mostly because of their intelligence, they would take more suggestions from these Brahmins, how we can, or how the kings would suggest. So the kings used to ask their suggestions to these people, and they used to give a lot of new insights for the system to work in that area, for the betterment and for the development of that area. As the kingdom was developing, and they used to see a lot of different changes in the system, so they used to give a present. They used to donate the entire village for these Brahmins for the revenue collections in different villages, because they were known for their sincerity and all. So they used to keep a record of all the things, whatever money is collected from the villages, whatever tax has been collected from the villages. What they used to do, these Brahmins, they used to inscribe means write in stone or in the copper plates, so that there is one record. You can see here the stone inscription in the picture, this one. So another reason why kings donated or generously to these Brahmins, because they wanted to establish the supremacy in society, because the Brahmins were known very superior, they were known very respected people and all. So the kings would get this lineage for the kings, that they are coming, or they are descendant from the sun, moon, or the great rishis. So they are the descendants of that. So they used to show, they wanted to show to other people, they wanted to show to other kings, other kingdoms, that they are descendant of this, and they are very superior from other societies. So they used to perform Rajasuyas and Ashwamedh, the type of yagnas, to show how powerful they are. This they were doing to show off to other people, or to show the other kingdoms that they are very superior, they are very great, they are descendants of rishis and all the other big things. Till now we were talking about the Brahmins. Now we see the Bhatts. Bhatts also played a very important role in establishing the royal lineage. We know the Bhatts tradition prevailed in the entire North India region during this time. So they were court poets who sang songs in the local languages praising the kings and his ancestors. So they were the poet writers. They mainly come from the Rajasthan areas. So these songs would instill the feelings of respect and pride for the king among the people. So we see in Chhattisgarh this tradition can be seen in the form of charan poets. So still in Chhattisgarh also there are some types of these types of poetries where we see that this praising of kings or the other ancestors. Okay, so the Bhatts also played a very vital role to uplift the kingdoms. So they were also very respected in the by the kings, and their songs were also inscripted in stones or in the copper plates. So one of the poet was Dalram Rao, who lived in the court of Raja Lakshmi, Nidhi and Kairagad. So he was the first person to use the name Chhattisgarh in one of his poem of praise to the kings. So I think from there only this name arrived for this state. So the next topic we have monarchs and feudal kings. So what is the meaning of monarchs? Monarchs means a king or a queen, and feudal kings means, feudal means what? Feudalism or the feudal system is a type of social and political system in which the landowners provide land to the tenants in exchange for their loyalty and service. So the owners means landowners, feudals means landowners who give land to the people in rent, okay, for their service in the kingdom. So here we see as the number of kingdoms were growing, and also the war also was growing. So war between the each kingdoms by neighboring kingdoms, they were fighting against each other. Why they were fighting? They wanted to expand their territory. They wanted to make their kingdom wide or big. So as we saw in the case of Emperor Samudragupta, so this was a great emperor Samudragupta. What he used to do? He used to return the kingdom. So but there were a lot of circumstances or conditions they had to follow. So this Samudragupta, when he won the kingdom, he used to give back their land to that king only. Then the defeated king had to accept some of his conquerors and his kings and masters. So the victor means one who has won the war and became the Adhipati. So he will become the Adhipati or monarch. Monarch means king or a queen. While the vanquished means one who lost the war, has to become the Samant or feudal vassal. Feudal vassal, I told you that he is given a rent, land in a rent to live there and to do the work for the development. To establish this vector authority further, the defeated king was made to write his name in the following manner: Mahasamant Shri Shitipal, whose place is at the feet of Parama Bhattarak Parmeshwar Maharajadhiraj Shri Bhojyadev. So in this way they have to inscript or their names in the kingdom. And also the feudal vassals would also give precious gifts to the monarchs to the king or queen to show the loyalty or gratitude. Means they did not kill them or did not loot their things, but they have given back their kingdoms to them. So they used to give a gratitude, some gifts. So when the monarchs went to war, the feudals, when the king used to go for the wars, what the feudals used to do? They also used to go to assist in the battlefield. So now we will see some important dynasties, that is important kingdoms of between 800 to 1000 BC. So there are three most influential dynasties ruled in the north. So first one is Pratiharas and Palas and Rashtrakutas. So the Pratiharas in the north, Palas in the east, and Rashtrakutas in the south. The kings of these dynasties were at war with each other for nearly how many years? 200 years. Pratiharas, Palas and Rashtrakutas. Pratiharas, Palas and Rashtrakutas were fighting for more than 200 years. So, trying to establish their sovereignty, trying to establish their kingdoms. So, this weakened the three kingdoms very badly, affected all the kingdoms fighting with each other, made them more weak. So, during this period, Chhattisgarh was ruled by the Kalchuri dynasty. So, some important kings of this dynasty were Kaling, Garaj, Ratnadev and Jajjaldev. So, Kalingaraj ruled over the whole of the southern Kosla around the year of 1000 BC. He established his capital at Tumman and ruled independently for many years. Ratnadev made Ratnpur his capital and developed into one of the biggest cities of the time in the Mahakosala region. So, in those days there were no town equal to Ratanpur in Mahakosala. So, you can see each of the dynasties of Kalchuris and their kings developed their own dynasties or their own empire, their own cities in a very bigger way. Then we see the Kalchuris kings consider themselves Rajputs. So, who are these Rajputs? So, the Rajput means the son of kings, okay, the descendants of kings. So, this they used to call themselves Rajputs. So, the several other influential Rajput dynasties in north, northwest and central India were also there. The prominent among them were the Chauhans, Tomars, Parmars, Gurjars and Pratiharas. Members of this royal lineage established independent kingdom at different places. The Parmar dynasty ruled over central India. The Bhoj was the most renowned king of this lineage. He was the mighty warrior with the powerful army who established the vast empire over which he ruled from 1000 to 1035 BC. Apart from this, being an influential ruler, he was also deeply interested in the science, literature and architecture. So, he used to give a lot of importance to this. So, at that time there was a most powerful ruler in the Central Asia and his name was Mahmud Ghaznavi. So, he invaded, means he defeated North India several times and he won from Afghanistan between 1000 to 1025 BC. So, plundered and looted the land, means he took all the sharing of their kingdoms, land and its people. And the great scholar from his kingdoms and called Al-Biruni. So, and he visited during this period, he came to study mathematics, astronomy and the different religions that flourished in the country. So, he learned Sanskrit during his state and and he studied many ancient manuscripts. After returning to his home country in 130, he wrote a book in Arabic titled Tahik Hind. We get a lot of information about the people of India, about their customs, religions, traditions and science, mathematics, astronomies, etc. from these types of books. He has the kings or the scholars who had written.